Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Scott Banjavcic, and I am the Engineering Discipline Chair here at College of DuPage. I am also the faculty lead for the Engineering Pathways program. I'm also a proud graduate of the University of Illinois at Urbana 3 different times, not one, not two, but 3 different times. So this program is near and dear to my heart. I definitely love to get as many of my students becoming future Illini as possible. In addition to the Engineering Pathways program, which we will talk about this evening, I am happy to answer any engineering related questions. We are very fortunate here at the College of DuPage. We have the largest engineering department of a community college, probably in the Midwest, definitely in the state of Illinois, but probably in the Midwest. So we are able to offer a wider range of courses than most community colleges. We are able to pretty much mimic the freshman and sophomore level coursework that you would see at any university for all of the engineering majors that are usually offered. So I can answer some questions about our program. We can answer questions about the different transfer relationships we have outside of Urbana. But again, this particular webinar is specifically for engineering pathways, but please don't hesitate to ask any questions that you may have about our program. Speaking of questions, please put them in the Q&A. Down at the bottom, there's a Q&A button. That is going to allow me to keep track of things as we go through the presentation, allow Rio to answer some of the questions as they come in. If you put them in the chat, we may not see them right away. So please put them in the Q&A button down at the bottom. So let's get started. I would like to share, this is a PowerPoint presentation that the University of Illinois has put together and that Carrie from the University of Illinois gives regularly. And so we will start there this evening. This is the quad at the University of Illinois. Here is Engineering Hall. This is kind of the north quad. The main quad is down here to the right-hand side of your screen. Here is the list of majors that you can pursue as part of the Engineering Pathways program. Notice that chemical engineering is down there with the little asterisk. The little asterisk is because the chemical engineering department is not in the College of Engineering. It is in the liberal arts and sciences. They have a special program that allows students in this program to be placed in chemical engineering, but it is not a guarantee like the other majors happen to be. Fortunately for us, we have a current student that is going into chemical engineering. He will be transferring after this semester. So we are very happy for him and a glad recipient of that particular program down at the bottom. Here is a sample plan of study for most of the engineers involved in this program. In fact, all of the engineers. It is amazing the similarities between the different types of engineering when it comes to freshman and sophomore level coursework. You're going to take the same math, the same chemistry, and the same physics, no matter what engineering you pursue. As you see in year 2 here, there's a bunch of asterisks. That is when we start to specialize. And then there might be room for other courses in here as well. But you start to specialize based on the major of your choosing when you start to become a sophomore. One really important thing to mention is that you need to be calculus ready. There is a placement test as part of the application process. As part of this, Rio is going to talk about the application process a little bit at the end here. But you need to be calculus ready, and you will show that through our ALEX placement test, which is part of your application. As I mentioned before, these asterisks are all for your major level courses. We are fortunate at the College of DuPage to be able to offer more specialized engineering classes than any other community college in the state of Illinois. We have 3 full-time faculty dedicated to engineering. I am a civil engineer, Dr. David Smith is a mechanical engineer, and Dr. Alyssa Pasquale is our electrical engineer. And so we really have all the bases covered for all of the different types of programs that you might be pursuing. What are the requirements? This is a special admittance program. You are applying now to be admitted into the program directly. You will go into a cohort, just like all of the students in the past cohorts. That cohort is going to serve a couple of different functions. It's going to be able to keep track of your advising appointments. You're going to have required advising with the College of DuPage advisors, as well as dual advising with the University of Illinois. And that cohort is also hopefully going to be a source of friends and able to study with, people to study with, and people to learn from. The main requirements of staying in good standing in this program are as follows. You must have a B or better in all of your classes. You have a 3.5 GPA, and you have to follow that plan of study. The reason we have so many required advising appointments is to make sure that your chances of success and that you are following the plan of study throughout the time in the program. What benefits do the engineering pathway students have over, say, going to the university? Here are just a list of a bunch of them. The fact that the community college atmosphere provides smaller classes and personalized support. I will be able to know your name in my class. You will have personalized advising support, both on the University of Illinois and the College of DuPage side of things. There are guaranteed scholarships once you transfer. 64%, about 2 years ago, 64% earned a guaranteed scholarship and a 3.8 GPA. Everyone has been getting their first choice of major. This is more of a guaranteed major program than it was in the past. So the opportunity to pursue whatever engineering major that you choose is as well as part of this program. Honors classes, the chance for honors scholarships at the College of DuPage are greater than the university level, and of course, guaranteed admission to the major of your choice is important. Some other ancillary things that are part of this program. We've had research opportunities, undergraduate research opportunities be offered at Urbana. We've also had internship and job shadowing type programs as well. And here is the list of requirements for what we're looking for in an applicant. We are looking for a high school senior or a GED completer. If you took a year off, a gap year, that's fine. We are looking for a first-time bachelor-seeking applicant. So those that have a previous bachelor's degree or associate's degree would not qualify. It's priority to Illinois residents and in-district students, and you cannot be a previous undergrad of the University of Illinois. Your application is due in April. As a part of the application, you need to fill out all of the required information on the University of Illinois site. I'm going to have Rio at the end here put up where that website happens to be and walk you through a little bit of the application. As a part of the application, in addition to your required transcripts and other information, you do have to take the ALEX placement test. The ALEX placement test is to determine your placement in math. That test is available at our testing center at the main campus location at College of DuPage in Glen Ellen. It is also proctored at some of the remote locations in Addison, I believe, in Westmont Center, and maybe the Naperville Center. You do need to get that done and have an official ALEX score so that we can prove calculus ready before admittance. At the end of year 2, you will have a short application to transfer. It will not be the full application that is required of most transfer students because you have been part of this program. You have known Carrie Nehans, who is the head of this program at the University of Illinois. You've been following your plan of study. They know who you are and they're excited to have you. So it's an easy process to transfer afterwards. And actually, Rio, I'm going to turn it back to you and let you walk them through the application before we go to questions.
Yes, and I do see, I want to make sure that I address that there have been some questions that have been asked in the question and answer area. We will get to these questions. We will get to them live. Many of them do include discussion about like the transfer process and the top choice major. But before we go into the answer Q&A portion, which generally takes up most of the information session, I wanted to just go through some of the visuals as to where you will be able to find the application if you have not started the application as of yet. So my first place to go would be onto the COD website. If you go to the website cod.edu/pathways, you will be able to find the direct steps to getting admitted into this wonderful program. You will need to be a general COD application. So whether you have already been accepted to Urbana and found this program at a later date, doesn't matter. You will need to do the general COD application. And we are not part of the Common App, so make sure to find our application on our official website. The application is important because it will allow you to get specific username and passwords that you will be able to set up on your own. Once you complete your COD application, you will be receiving an email stating what your username will be and then a link to set the password up. That username is going to be utilized for a number of things, and the main one, especially for engineering pathways, will be the ALEKS Math Placement Test. The ALEKS Math Placement Test is done proctored at any one of our testing locations. We have hours 6 out of the 7 days a week in Glen Ellen, Addison, Carroll Stream, Naperville, and Westmont. This placement test is untimed, and I know we had some questions about AP exams. Despite having an AP exam, if you had an AP, BC, or AB score of a 5 or better, we will look at that in the supplemental application. However, it does not exempt you from having to take this ALEKS placement test, nor does it exempt you from having to take the class that your AP exam score is equivalent to. And when I'm done talking about the application process, I will hand it over to Scott to discuss that. So the ALEKS placement test, again, is going to be used to make sure that students are able to take classes, hopefully starting in calculus. A 76 or better is your ideal score to get to when doing the ALEKS placement test. You do have up to 3 additional chances from the first time you take the ALEKS math placement test. However, in order for the 3 additional chances to be available to you, you will need to log back into your learning module and practice the math placement learning module for 3 hours at a time for each and every opportunity to open up to take the test proctored at one of our testing sites. After you've completed your application, after you've taken your math placement test, you will need to submit official transcripts. You will need to upload your ALEKS math placement test within the engineering pathways application form, which is found on UIUC's website. Again, there is a direct link to this supplemental form. You will need to create a login, and this is where you will be able to answer the essay prompt and upload the official information. They will be asking you for items like your COD ID number, your College of DuPage email address. So you want to make sure you have all of that information available when completing the engineering pathway supplemental application. If you are also applying, you want to make sure that your transcripts are officially sent to both UIUC and to COD. Both institutions will be using them for a variety of reasons. For example, COD, we will need to look at your transcripts. Also, if you are looking to apply for financial aid, UIUC will be looking at this also to look as a part of the application review. Again, engineering pathways is a holistic application. So all of these, the essays, your ALEKS math placement test is all taken into consideration for admission into the program. We do want to make sure students are aware that if you have an SAT of a 950 or better, an ACT of a 20 or better, those are the scores that will place students to the general education courses that have a reading and writing requirement. If you have AP exam scores in subjects like English, composition, language, those are also used. We will need the official test scores for those particular subjects. Once a student is accepted into the program, we invite them to our Engineering Pathways reception. This Engineering Pathways reception will actually occur on COD's campus on Tuesday, April 18th. This Engineering Pathways reception will be a way for students to meet the outgoing engineering pathway transfers and also be welcomed into the program. Engineering pathway first-time students will be given assigned advisors. So there will be assigned advisors and advising sessions after the engineering pathways receptions where students will be in need to attend so they can meet with their advisors and also be placed into the plan of study for engineering pathways. So that in a nutshell is the engineering pathways application. Get your application to COD in, get that username and password in order to take the ALEX placement test, submit all documentation transcripts to the respective schools, as well as that UIUC supplemental form. You also want to keep in mind that March 31st, this is another place for you to use your username and password in addition to the math placement test. COD will have a number of scholarships through our foundation that will be available for students with a deadline of March 31st. This is found through our COD Academic Works portal, and I'll share that on the screen where you can find that. Another scholarship that is also very popular with our engineering pathways students is the STEM scholarship. The STEM student scholarship is something that you can find within the COD Academic Works portal. The STEM student scholarship is actually a scholarship that actually will be able to be layered. So if you receive our institutional scholarships, anyone that you see through the foundation, the STEM scholarship can actually cover additional costs like books, tuition, housing, and even transportation. So that is definitely something that you might want to consider. This STEM scholarship does have a, the STEM Student Success Scholarship will have a requirement of completing a FAFSA or the alternative application for Illinois students. Another popular scholarship for engineering pathways is our presidential Deans or Board of Trustees Scholars Award. This one actually has a later deadline of May 1st. And this one is for students with a GPA of a 3.5 or better, or a 4.37 out of a 5. There is an essay requirement for this, and the scholarship portal will also be an area where you can submit this information or the Scholars Award scholarship.
Now, there's a lot of questions regarding whether this is guaranteed admission or guaranteed to your major. And I can understand the confusion here. For the first 7 to 8 years of this program started in 2012. So we're about year 11 or year 12 at this point. There was a guaranteed admission, and you had to apply first choice and second choice to your majors. Now, that still is the way that the program is operated. However, there was an important change about 3 years ago where the head of the program at the University of Illinois has essentially made this a guaranteed major. If you do what you're supposed to do, you follow the plan of study, you have over a 3.5, not a 3.8, but a 3.5 GPA, you will be guaranteed. Every student over the past 3 years, 100% across all of the institutions have gotten the major of their first choice. So yes, aerospace, mechanical, all of the students have gotten their first choice of major over the past 3 to 4 years. Now, technically, it's still a guarantee to the College of Engineering, but they have gotten away from that. They feel that because the coursework is so rigorous, because the GPA requirement is so high, and the fact that you can't get any C's, the guaranteed major is an easy sell for them at U of I. So that is what it is. That's how the program has operated over the past 3 to 4 years. So hopefully that answers the questions over guaranteed major.
Can I also ask you, Scott? I had a student that when you first started, the question was interested in knowing about the change in program that allows qualifying students to pick their first choice major at UIUC Engineering. Is this accurate? And what are the limitations? Is this a change from previous years? Thank you.
Yes, it is a change from about 3 years ago. Yes, it is a change. So Illinois has decided that this should be a guaranteed major program, and that everyone should be in their first choice major if they fulfill the requirements. So this is a change from a couple of years back. So yes, hopefully that answers the question. And then let's see. After
How many
completing
engineering pathways? I mean, I'll go through the list, Scott, and then if you can respond. How many engineering pathway students start each year and complete the program?
Okay, let's talk about percentages, because I think a percentage is a better measure. We had larger cohorts before the pandemic. Now we're back to a little bit smaller cohorts. But the percentage has been between 30 and 42, 45% over the course of the program. We hit a high of about 45%. I think now we're somewhere in the 35% range. I'd have to look at my notes, but that's we are better than the University of Illinois. Typically, the University of Illinois and UIC, the major universities, they typically see about a 33% success rate for the freshmen that start engineering and become engineers. This particular program is closer to the low 40s in terms of students that start this program and transfer to the University of Illinois. As far as success when they've gone to the University of Illinois, I am yet to be aware of any of our students transferring and not getting a bachelor's degree. In general, our department, our success rate at the 4-year institutions is somewhere between 80 and 95%, depending on which university that they transfer to. So we feel that we set up our students extremely well to transfer and be successful. And then we're happy that our transfer rate is actually better. 40% may not seem very high, but engineering's tough. And a lot of students, decide that for better or worse, that that's not for them, or that there's other things. But we're happy with that being higher than the universities as far as being able to succeed in this program.
Scott, I have, while you're talking about that, there is a question that a student, if a student went to UIUC as a freshman, and I'm going to go ahead and share the screen in regards to the programs of study. If you can kind of talk a little bit about will they have to take, if a student went to UIUC as a freshman, would they have to take some of those basic math classes as well? We are fairly concerned that the requirements would be fairly remedial at his level. I think if we could talk about just maybe what the first 2 years and how calculus and like the rigor, I think
Sure.
this would be, I think this is a very fair question. I think we see this quite a bit. Many times students think, when they think, oh, well, chemistry, computer science, the gen ed, can you just talk a little bit about what the difference in the rigor, at the college level, not necessarily UIUC, like if you can talk about like how it is, for this program.
Sure. So there's a lot of different ways to look at AP and dual credit, which is kind of where your question is headed. If you've taken the Calculus BC test, will the University of Illinois allow you to go into Calculus 3? The answer is yes. If you take this program, will you have to start back at Calculus 1? The answer is also yes. Now, the difference is the pace of college level classes is roughly 2 times, sometimes 2.5 times of high school classes. And the amount of face time that you have with your professor is maybe half as much as you would have had in high school. So the speed and the rigor of college level curriculum is very, very different than high school. So that is partially the reason why AP credit is not allowed in this particular program. Calculus 1, Calculus 2 are the fundamental building blocks of all of the different engineering majors. And if there's cracks in your foundation, we have found that the success after that is greatly decreased. The same is true of physics if you've taken some of the AP tests for physics, and the same is true of chemistry. The other thing is the University of Illinois, in order to give a guaranteed major, a guaranteed admission and guaranteed major, the University of Illinois wants to see a proven track record of being able to handle the rigor of college. And each one of these different semesters in the plan of study has between 15 and 18 credit hours of coursework. And being able to do all of that at once is a justification that the University of Illinois can say, this person has been able to manage this level of coursework, has been able to get the required GPA, and therefore they deserve guaranteed admission to the major of their choice. So part of this is understanding the rigor of college coursework and why it's different than high school. Part of it is the being able to handle the amount of classes that are required in this particular program. And part of it is that the fundamental nature of calculus is so important to the other classes that you will take in the future that we do not want any gaps in your foundational knowledge. Now, if you are a student that is easily placing in Calc 3 or easily placing in Physics 2 or Physics 3, and the University of Illinois or UIC or wherever else is going to give you that AP credit, then you want to go through, your college in 2 years or whatever the case may be. It's a worthwhile, consideration, but that is the reason that we have the limits on this particular program and AP credit that we do.
Thank you, Scott. Can a student take summer semester general education classes while in the Pathways program?
Most certainly. The only thing I will say is anytime you want to take classes, the reason we have dual advising, the reason that you are continuously in communication with the University of Illinois and or the advisors here is to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So yes, you can do that. Yes, lots of our students do that. Yes, that helps them get through certain requirements faster and maybe have time for other things. We just like to have it approved by an advisor before you do it.
All right. Another question, if I have already completed the prerequisites for calculus at COD, do I still have to take the ALEC placement test?
Now that's a fantastic question. I think as part of the application, we are requiring you to take the ALEX test. Yes, the answer is yes. However, your ability to place in the Calc 1 is probably because of 1432. It's a fantastic question. Send me an email on that one. That one I haven't heard before.
This question, it might actually be more for me. I am not in district for COD specifically. I'm in district for Triton. Is it still possible to apply to COD? And the answer is yes. We will even as the program has expanded to other community colleges, if you are a community college that does not have engineering pathways program, COD will definitely have you apply. There may be, or there will be, a difference in cost per credit hour for in-district and out-of-district students. So although if your local community college does not offer the engineering pathways program, they will still offer a lot of the plan of study classes like the physics, the calc, the static. Those do not qualify for any sort of chargeback agreement. So you can still apply as an out-of-district student. Just be mindful that there will be a difference in cost. However, that STEM scholarship, as I mentioned earlier, that I also put the link in within the Q&A feature, that doesn't matter whether or what high school you attend. That is a scholarship that you could apply for, and any one of our foundation scholarships, not all of them are in-district student-based.
The other thing I would ask you to do is please, in your application to the University of Illinois, make mention of that. Say, that you are in Triton's district, but you would like to attend COD, and Carrie, and we'll have discussions about that and how to make it best work for you.
I mean, we've had it where all of these years, students just felt, more inclined to start here at College of DuPage, whether it was the fact that we have our own Associate of Engineering Science. Again, as Scott mentioned earlier, it's that it isn't as common for the community college to have the full-time faculty in engineering that we do. We have great preparation for our math. So students who do start and take a lot of our foundation classes are able to go into any program really of their choice. We will provide the foundation. Another question. My son would like to qualify for faculty tuition discount. Would he still qualify for scholarships? That I believe they would. I think the best person would be to contact the specific financial aid representative based off of your last name. We can put that link to the chat, but from my understanding over the last, many years that I've been here, I have seen students that were able to qualify for the Scholars Award scholarship if they are in district. If the Scholars Award is an in-district tuition scholarship, if they were in district and they graduated from one of our 36 high schools and they qualified, they would be eligible for that scholarship.
Now, Rio has mentioned the STEM award is not have the in-district requirements, correct?
Yeah, the STEM school scholarship, that one does have a FAFSA requirement though. So that one is, and that's open to all, it's not just for high school students. And again, I'm going to put, to get a hold of Scott or I, you can email engineering@cod.edu or pathways@cod.edu. Another question for you, Scott. How much of a student's high school transcript and test scores are a factor in a student's pathway program application? What's the factor that is reviewed the most and of most importance in the pathway application?
Generally, calculus placement is a requirement. The next is A's and B's in math and science in high school, because we are going to require you to get A's and B's in college. So A's and B's tends to be a better predicator of work ethic. That doesn't mean if you were a BC student, you won't get in though. The part of this program is to give access to students, more access than, to the engineering programs at the University of Illinois and here at College of DuPage. So I would encourage any of you to apply. But if you're the grades in high school would be the primary factor, I would say.
I do want to mention that there has been some applications where a student was right on the cusp, scored all right, had decent grades, but there was an essay portion where they answered with one sentence responses. that student's application did not go very far.
Just
So we
do your
definitely,
best.
yeah, do your best. You know, we understand that our engineering students aren't necessarily literary masters, but we definitely would like to see effort put into these applications. All right. Would like to confirm eligibility, and there are no restrictions for faculty dependents. For engineering pathways, no. Okay. In district, they count faculty in district regardless, at least that I've been told. The offspring of, like, the children of faculty, I believe they still, it depends on what high school they attend. To my understanding, in district for faculty, I'm not sure. I think that might be something that we
Rio,
would need to wonder.
it's in the faculty contract.
Okay.
So
Oh, okay, never mind.
whether you're a part-timer or full-timer, it's in the faculty contract. Whatever the contract says is what we get. I believe it's a third of in-district tuition. And I don't think it matters where you live, Rio. I really
Okay.
don't.
No, thank you. Thank you. That's right. I am thinking of people who live and work in district, not the faculty. So
Right.
thank
The
you.
faculty, I believe it's in our contract, and it's in the adjunct contract as well.
Right. So if there are more questions, I'm pulling up the contact the engineering program inquiry form, or Scott, would you just like the email to engineering?
Yes, I put that in the chat.
Okay, you put it in already?
Well, we have a question about students that score below 76. There is a possibility to enroll in the engineering plan of study and to do a year in the engineering plan of study to try to get calculus ready and to be on track and then reapply the following year. But you know, what generally happens is students that aren't calculus ready, they find themselves kind of in a middle ground, and the best opportunity for them is to come and be an engineering student with us. We can get them enrolled in things like engineering graphics and chemistry, and it usually doesn't add a full year to their ability to transfer. In order to be part of this program, you'd essentially be adding a full year to be looking at your bachelor's degree. And there's other institutions that do a better job of that, in my opinion. Do we offer in-person visits or experience for the engineering program? Sure, I am happy to meet with you, and Rio is happy to meet with you. And if you send us an email, we can send you a link to maybe a time that would work. But I don't think we have any official campus visits where we do those in a group. But if you would like to meet with me during my office hours, I can do that. Not next week because we will be off on spring break, but after we were back in town.
We will have our open house April 13th, where we will have faculty and program representatives, including the wonderful faculty from engineering. Keep in mind, we don't do in the large scale classroom experiences, through the admissions office. The best way to get some of your questions to see that classroom experience would, as Scott mentioned, contact the faculty. You can contact engineering@cod.edu or pathways@cod.edu, and we will be able to connect you to the faculty, which they will be able to meet with you during office hours.
Now, let's be very clear here, Rio IT. It's COD engineering at
COD engineering. I am so sorry. I should take that out.
If you don't put the COD in front, you will end up with the maintenance department that does all our HVAC work.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. I should have known. I did delete it out of the chat. It's COD engineering@cod.edu. That will go to Scott and the faculty. For engineering pathways questions, it would be pathways@cod.edu.
Well, thank you so much for having us or allowing us to speak to you, hosting us in your living room, so to speak.
We have
Let's.
another question. Can a
Well,
student take additional general education classes along with required pathways classes in a semester?
yes. The plan of study is a minimum. So yes. Please apply. Apply early. It's supposed to be a rolling admission cycle. I know that the University of Illinois is a little behind on their decisions at the moment. Hopefully they catch up this week, and we start to get our cohort full of wonderful young students. But please apply before the deadline on April the 5th. It will not take long for you to hear after that.
Yeah.
I hope. No, we will be catching up with that. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.